Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to all of you to the World Teen Parliament. Today is the 34th Parliamentary session of the World Teen Parliament. 3 years back, we embarked on a journey to find out the most amazing, the most inspiring teenagers from across the world and bring them together onto a single forum that we today call the World Teen Parliament. The World Teen Parliament has a very clear mandate to give teenagers an opportunity to interfere, to introspect, and to understand how policy making and democracy works across the globe. And in this series, every year we conduct elections where teenagers can participate, submit their ideas on world improvement, people vote for them, and the top 100 teens who get the maximum votes get elected to the World Teen Parliament for a tenure of 1 year, where they get trained, mentored, and funded to work on their ideas and, most importantly, interact with global leaders from different parts of the world. Today as well, when we initiate the 34th Parliamentary session, this is also an opportunity for teens to interact with global leaders. We are very thankful to the most amazing global leaders who have taken out the time and devoted it towards teenagers and become a part of the World Teen Parliament. Today as well, we are very thankful and we welcome with an open heart Honorable Audrey Vidot, the member of the National Assembly of Seychelles from Seychelles. A very warm welcome, ma'am. Thank you so much for taking out the time and being here with us today. I would request all the teen MPs and influencers at the World Teen Parliament. I hope you're all set with your questions and you're ready to enjoy the 34th Parliamentary session. Most importantly, if you're a teenager who wants to be a part of this ecosystem, the elections for the 4th World Teen Parliament are right now going on. So if you want to be a part of the conversation, if you want to be talking to global leaders, make sure that you enroll right now, register yourselves, and I hope you get the votes to become an MP at the World Teen Parliament. So let's begin the 34th Parliamentary session of the World Teen Parliament with an opening address. A very warm welcome to Honorable Audrey Vidot, the member of the National Assembly of Seychelles from Seychelles. Over to you for the next 3 to 7 minutes for your opening address of the 34th Parliamentary session of the World Teen Parliament.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Go, for your warm remarks. My name is Honorable Audrey Vidot. I am 37 years old, and I am a member of the Seychelles Parliament. I will give you a little briefing about myself, and then a briefing about my parliament, and then I will address you. When I was only 13 years old, I became one of the young activists in my constituency, advocating for the youths, engaging in different youth groups, organizing activities and events on community level. I received 2 youth awards in 2010. One in youth young animators category, and the other one for special youth award. These awards were awarded to me for voluntary engagement in youth affairs, in community level, and as well in district level. I've had led at least 4 youth groups in my 10 years, and I've served 2-year mandate in the Seychelles National Youth Assembly, which is a structure within the Seychelles National Youth Council. That is before I fully engage in politics. Now, to share with you, at the age of 29, I was elected for the first time in 2016 in the National Assembly of Seychelles to represent my constituency, which is called Roche Caiman. It's mostly a reclaimed land area with very developed land with different facilities. And I was the youngest parliamentarian at that time in the 6th National Assembly. The oldest one used to call me the baby of the house. And then I was re-elected in 2020 for a second mandate, which I am still serving today in the 7th National Assembly cohort. Now, please allow me to give you a briefing of my parliament so you get an idea of what I do today as a member of parliament. Now, in Seychelles, the Constitution of the Third Republic of Seychelles, in the supreme law, establishes the country's system of government. It provides for 3 separate branches. of state, which puts in place a separation of powers. Now, there's the executive, there's the legislature, which you can call it the parliament, and the judiciary. Now, the executive is the administrative arm of government, and it is responsible to put in operation the laws that pass by parliament and administering the programs and services that are delivered by the government. And of course, the head of state, which is the government, the executive, is the president, who is directly elected by popular votes and may hold office. He could stand in at least 2 mandates, but each term, each mandate, he would only have to serve for a 5-year terms. Now, the National Assembly of Seychelles, which is the other branch of government, the National Assembly is the legislative branch of government, and it is a single legislative chamber. You can say like it's a parliament that consists only one house. It's a bit different for some countries. The Constitution of the Third Republic of Seychelles provides the establishment of the National Assembly, and its composition, the election of members best owes up upon the institution and the legislative power to make and pass laws. Now, the National Assembly currently compromises up to 35 members. So, since we are a very small population, we have only 35 members of parliament. 26 are directly elected members, and I form part of the 26. And also, we represent directly elected districts. Now, we also have 9 proportionate elected members. Now, these members, they have been elected within their respective parties. They've got the percentage of the valid votes from the last election that gives them the percentage to allow a certain number of proportionate seats. However, it is important to know that in Seychelles, in Parliament, you can either be elected through a representative of a political party, or you can stand in as an independent candidate. The National Assembly presides over by the Speaker. We also have a Deputy Speaker. But the majority party in the National Assembly is led by the leader of government business. So they represent the government because they are the majority party in the House. Now, the opposition party, that means the minority party, it can be in a like today, it is mostly by a political party, which is from where I am in today, in the opposition party. But it can also have independent candidate that had been directly elected in a district, because he or she falls in a minority vote. So then it will be form part of the opposition side of it. So they also have to. They are led by the leader of the opposition. Normally, there's a vote to elect someone from the opposition party. So definitely, if there's a party involved, then that party will definitely have the more votes to elect a leader of the opposition. Now, just to share with you, the function of the National Assembly of Seychelles includes making and passing laws, taking up critical oversight role to check on the actions and the state finances and policies of the executive. Only the National Assembly has the power to pass laws for the Seychellois and every person on the territory of Seychelles. It does that in 2 ways, either passing law proposed by the executive through public bills or amending the constitution, or members can bring in private members' bill. Any change of the constitution, at least they must have a certain percentage of majority in terms of the House for them to be able to make any amendments on the Constitution of Seychelles. Now, although the National Assembly carries out the business, we do mostly debate on motions, address question to the ministers, re-scrutinize the national budget, and a large portion of the work that is done at our parliament is oversight duties that we do in terms of committee work, okay? It can be either a standing committee or seasonal committees, like committees that have been established for a certain time. Now, and the third last branch of government in Seychelles is the judiciary. Now, the judiciary is a legal branch of government, and it is responsible for interpreting and enforcing the laws of Seychelles, and it is headed by the Chief Justice. Okay, so these are the three branch of government. Now, dear teens, today for me it's a pleasure to be addressing you. When in my introduction, when I started, I briefly shared my journey as a teen, where I started and only at the age of 13 years old, and today at the age of 37, where I've reached, I'm in Parliament, and part of my journey as a teen has empowered me. It has groomed me to take the another step in terms of my career, to join politics and as well be a leader for not only my constituency, but for my country. Now, I've never given up regardless the challenges that I faced during my time, building up my personal skills, my personal development, and building up my career to today for me to be a politician. It was not easy for me. And I've been through a lot of challenges. I'm a Christian, but I've always respected all the different spiritual beliefs, because for me, God has given me light in my career path for me to choose and be a leader. And perseverance and determination has been like my my strength for me to stay to continue to advocate for youth engagement, be it on national or international level, to encourage young people like you are here today to see how it is important that you engage in your country, in your local community, what best you can do to empower yourself so that you can inspire others and be the leaders of tomorrow. Now, I am supporting internationally. I'm supporting one of the Forum for Young Parliamentarians in the IPU, which is the Inter-Parliamentary Union. There's a campaign saying yes to youth in Parliament. Now, this is, I strongly believe that youth should be engaged at a very young age, and like your teens today, should be engaged in what's happening in your community, in your country. Educate yourself, learn what you can do best to improve the lifestyle, their community life, encourage other youths to prevent them from getting engaged into antisocial activities, and doing good for the community and for yourself and your country. Because I believe that you teens who are here today, whatever you learn, whatever you benefit through this platform will definitely help you to encourage others to join and to participate. Now, why do I choose to support the youth of today, especially youth teens? Youth parliaments can modernize and bring good practice of past leaders and bring new innovative ideas, how to enhance policies that have been implemented in your country, review the laws to make it better, and to maintain peace in your respective communities. Now, I strongly believe that you, young teens, can be potential leaders of tomorrow, and you can bring positive change in our respective democracy system, and help bring more peace around the world. Because there will be a time that you will get the opportunity to meet others, and you will help and share what is really happening in your respective countries and how best you can contribute to make it a better place. Now, to conclude, I want to address you by telling you that it is important to take your education seriously and to, like I've said, to empower yourself. At least take any good opportunities that exist, either through the current government system or be active in different non-government organizations that you will help you, because I started that way. I was once an activist and created my own environmental group to even involve different age group to join, to not necessarily only youth. By leading it helped me to build a lot of my self-esteem and to be a good leader. So it is important that you also take this opportunity through this platform that you have today to also show what are your talents, what are your abilities, and see how best you can also help others to empower themselves, so that I would like to see maybe one of you in the future consider being an MP or working with your parliament, so that you can make a difference for your country. So today I'm ready to share my any additional experience that I've been through, maybe to motivate you in your future endeavors, and also how best I can support through this platform by engaging more with you. And I would also like the possibility as well to liaise with my country in terms, because we have like I said earlier, we had a structure which is a Seychelles National Youth Council, whereby we get lots of youth to be engaged in different groups and empower them to be leaders, be elected in their respective schools, so that they can be the voice of the students from their schools. So maybe we could partnership and see how we can help you through your program, especially through this teen MP network. So I'm looking forward to network to you tonight. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the opening address for the parliamentary session. Before we start with the questions from the teenagers, there's one question that I would like to put forth. When you were a teenager and when you started into public life, the biggest problem or a biggest hurdle that any teenager sees, like all the teens on this call as well, that if we even aspire to become policy makers, or even if we want to be a part of the parliament, if you were a teen again, what would you have done differently? Or what are the steps that these teenagers should take if they want to see, become themselves as a parliamentarian in the future?
When I started, I was to be honest, I was one of the shy. I come from a family of only two. I have an older brother. I've always been a personal person, not likely getting engaged into different groups. But with the support of my mom, because I had a single mom, she supported me a lot, and she channeled me into those youth groups in the district so that I could get involved. And if I would change, I would say that maybe I would have gotten more youth to be engaged, because at that time, when I started, I was more concentrating on myself to see how I can build up my self-esteem, how I could empower myself to do other things. And from there that I started to get engaged and organize other youths to join. But I would not change much, because the opportunity I had with my teens when engaging in different groups, it was a chance for me to meet new friends, engage in a lot of areas like education, environment, social. It was an opportunity for me to explore and see how I can empower myself.
Thank you so much for that response. So it makes your plan a little clear that if as a teenager you really want to get into policy making, First, you'll have to interact with the youth groups that are around there, try to understand what are the actual issues that are happening around you. So before we go ahead, do you think that most of the teenagers in Seychelles, are they really interested in becoming a part of this process? Do they really want to be policymakers? Do they look at policy making as a career? Or do they think, no, it is not something to get involved with?
We have youth that are very, very active and very engaged in different platforms, be it through the schools program or the Seychelles National Youth Council program or the NGOs. And the ministries, they also, like the Ministry of Education, they always try to get the youths from different schools or organizations for them to contribute in terms of the policy, because a policy for the youth or the country, it will not be effective, it will not be well valued if there's no contribution from for the youths. So mostly in Seychelles, the youths are engaged. However, what I am concerned about, like I spoke to you when we introduced ourselves, my concern is that at the age of 18, now Seychelles, for you to be able to vote, you have to register at the age of 18. Once you've been 18 years old, there's no election, but the voters list is open at the Electoral Commission office. Now it's up to the youths to go forward for them to register as a voter. And this is the issue in Seychelles. We're struggling a lot to encourage youth to go and register, because a lot of them, there's not really, you have to try and convince them why it is important for them to register and why it is important for them to vote. So this is why I believe at a very early age, while we are training, we are empowering, we are investing our youth to be more engaged in the policy making, giving their views, giving their ideas of how best they want to see their community, they want to see the educational system. They need to start early and continue engaging themselves in different groups. By involving in those groups, this will help them to see why they have been valued and why their input is important for them to take the next step of register. When they register as a voter, now they get the chance for them to get other support of other services, and as well as getting the opportunity for them to participate in an election and make a difference. Because all their votes, especially in Seychelles, the first time voters makes a big difference in an election. And based on the result of the election, the representatives of the communities, the leaders, they have to continue staying in touch with with the youths in the district. It could be the teens, it could be like I say, from 13 to 18 to 19. We all need their views and contribution because we pass laws. We are the ones that needs to question the leaders in government to ensure that whatever they implement, whatever programs that they want to introduce in government, it has to benefit the youths. And the youths, we are talking down grassroots, the kids going up to teens and to adults. So it is important that they get involved. So that's the challenge that we have in Seychelles.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for so elaborately answering that and making such a visual picture representation of what exactly is happening. I think all the teens who are there on this call, I would want to put this question to you and you can respond to it in the chat. That all the teen MPs and influencers, do you think that teenagers across the countries are not interested to vote? What do you see around you? Are your friends really interested to go and vote, or do they think democracy does not work? So what's your experience on it? You can put it in the chat. In the meanwhile, let's take the question from the teen MPs. Let me first invite the first question. Comes from Dhanya KH. Dhanya, please unmute yourself, introduce yourself and ask your question.
Hello, ma'am. Good evening. I'm Dhanya KH from Grade 10, DAV Pallikaranai, Chennai, India. And today I'd like to ask you a question. Honorable Vidot, do you see Seychelles' positive initiatives like solar and water conservation contributing to meaningful changes in our world today, especially amidst all the toxicity?
Yes. For us in Seychelles, as an island country, we take environment conservation very important. We like to get engaged with a lot of youth in the local districts and as well as NGOs for there to give their inputs so that whatever the Ministry of Environment wants to implement something or they want to pass a law that it has to do with conservation, we have to get their views and opinion so that when we debate on a law before it is passed, we need to make sure that we value all the pros and cons and see how best we can support a law to promote and support conservation in relation to the subject that you've mentioned.
Next question comes from Jude Joe. Jude, please introduce yourself and then ask your question.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Jude Joe, a teen MP of the World Teen Parliament. I study at our own English High School, Sharjah, in the UAE. My question is, what measures has the government of Seychelles implemented to safeguard local communities impacted by significant industrial projects?
Thank you for your question, Jude. The government, whatever projects that the government decides to implement, they have to have consultation. And consultation has to go through like public meetings. It is important that they conduct public meetings in the local community to get the public to be engaged, for them to ask questions, to raise their concerns, if that the project is going to affect maybe a certain area where they lived, or if they have any contribution to support the project, this will be an opportunity for them. So it's like a paper stage. Okay, so once the community gets its input, of course the community leaders are being invited. Mostly it is either the elected member of that constituency, or it could also be the district administrator. In some countries, the district administrator is more like the mayor of the community, but in Seychelles, it's called a district administrator. So they are engaged. They have to present the plan with the public. But before they meet with the public, they normally meet with us, the district authority, which is the DA and the MLA, the member of parliament. Now they discuss it with us, and now we push forward for the public meeting to give their views, especially like I said, if it's a major project like the one you mentioned, for them to get their views. And from there, it is now that if it's a controversial one, now it is the government that will make the decision if they will approve the project. But most of the projects, it also goes to the planning authority. We have a planning authority. At times, the planning authority can give its decision, and then later on, it is being discussed in the community level. But if there's a problem that the community is against the project, then it is also a pressure on the government, so that possibility that project may not be implemented. But at times the difficulty we might have, especially if the land is privately owned and it is already getting the blessing of the planning authority, that's the challenge that at times we get as the local communities. But I always say that we local communities have a say. It is our district, it is our community. We know if this is going to affect us. As long as we can voice out our concern, then there is a chance that we can put a stop to the project. But if it's a good project, then the community bless it and support it.
I hope, ma'am, you've answered the question very elaborately. And yes, I think Seychelles also promotes that there's a lot of community engagement before any policy decision is taken. Before we move on to the next question, is there any mechanism in the current Seychelles National Assembly or Parliament where a teenager who might not be involved in any youth groups, where he might not be involved in any active politics or any policy making, do they have any opportunity to be a part of the parliament in some or the other way? Can they become there as visitors? Can they come and experience it? Can they talk to people? Or is there some sort of a in way or an option or an opportunity for a general teenager in Seychelles to become a part of the parliament?
It doesn't necessarily. We've had MPs that not necessarily been into groups, into youth groups or any NGOs. They just decided to get engaged in politics. They've chosen a political party, or their political party has approached them, and they've seen that they are popular, maybe in terms of people know them, because mostly in the parliament, most of the MPs that have stand in parliament, they have at least known someone, especially the directly elected ones. They could be at least a little bit popular in their community. When I say popular, it doesn't mean that, like you said, engage in a youth group. No, people know that person. People, because like I've said, Seychelles is very small. In my community, I could have about last election, I have about 700 people who registered, who was on the voters list. So if you have a small community, people know you. You campaign and you prove yourself that you have the ability, you have the skills. You present your plan of actions to them, and you market yourself. You campaign, so then you're lucky enough to be elected and join the parliament.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the response. I think we are actually seeing a lot of responses in the chats that do teenagers really think democracy works, and we are getting a lot of mixed responses. Some of them say that yes, it works. Somebody says that okay, in Mauritius it's not working very well. In India, someone says that they might believe in democracy, some of them might not. So I think this is the kind of opinionation that we want more. So keep answering that question so that we come to know what's happening in your country. Do teenagers really think democracy works? And the next question comes from Johan Thomas. Johan, please unmute yourself, introduce, and ask your question.
Good evening, Miss Audrey. I am Johan. I study in the 10th grade. I am from the United Arab Emirates, and I study in our own English high school, Sharjah Boys. And my question to you is, if you could involve teens in one national priority in Seychelles, like ocean conservation or education, what would you choose? And how would you encourage them to get started?
That's a little bit tough one for me. Thank you, Johan. Actually, before I answer your question, my colleague in the parliament on a proportionate seat in the opposition party, he's also named Johan. So I have a Johan MP in Seychelles. You know why I say it's difficult? Because for me, education is a very close part, because I like to get engaged with a lot of schools and different institutions, but also in terms of conversation, the blue economy is also a subject which is important for my country in relations to conservation for the ocean and as an island state. So both is very important for me. But of course, if you have to choose from my personal one, definitely it will be education, because we need a lot of teachers for us, empower a lot of local teachers for them to teach our youth and get them more engaged in different areas, so that they can build up for a good career choice. Because we in Seychelles, like I said, we are a very small population, and it is important that all our youth get the best education, so that they can, if they get a chance to go to university when they come back, we want them to come back, of course, for them to again teach and take very important position in Seychelles, so that we don't have a lot of expatriate, because in Seychelles we don't have any issues with foreigners, or we welcome foreigners that have a lot of support and helped support us in the past, and guided us in different areas where we lacked the human resources. But we want to empower our youth, our locals, so that they can also take a very key position in Seychelles.
So before we go to the next question, there's a question that has come from the audience, that what's that one common misconception about politicians that you'd like to clear up for young people? There are a lot of misconceptions about politicians. A lot of people think that, they're the people who just, make a lot of money for themselves. They're not actually taking care of the people around them. They're very greedy people, because they see a lot of criticism coming in the media. So what is that one thing or one misconception about politicians that you would like to, clarify in front of these teenagers or teenagers across the world, so that the belief in democracy increases a little bit? Over to you, ma'am.
Well, this question, I would say yes. There's a lot of talk. I would not say only in Seychelles, but in different countries, that parliamentarians mostly they come for their own personal gain. But I will talk for my personal view and personal perception of things. When I joined politics, I didn't. The first time I was my mentor, actually, the person that was the previous MNA in my district, when she told me to consider, she was retiring, and she asked me, Audrey, I'm thinking about retiring, and I want to groom you and support you for you to replace me as the potential candidate for our political party, to campaign for you to win the election. And the first thing I told her, I said, no, I don't want to be an MP, but I have lots of young people in the district that I can give you the list of names that can participate. She says, no, even though you give me the whole list, still I've talked to them, and you're the one that has always been supporting me. I say, okay, I will try. But when I got myself involved in politics and aspiring to be a leader, the first thing I did was to get people to know me, and see how best I could contribute towards my community. And this was the idea of making a difference for my community. There's a lot of leaders in Seychelles that still believes in that kind of leadership. Putting yourself aside and focusing on what you can contribute as an individual for your community and your country. And from there, you see how best you can change those perception of being a leader, to be in parliament and only getting a fat salary or all the perks, but also at least giving when you're doing your best in your local community, staying connected with your people, making a difference, and also support your community in different areas. So that's the thing that we believe that an MP should focus on, making a difference, like I said, for your community and your country. And then, of course, you will benefit of all the benefit as a politician, but it's you have to earn it. The important thing is you have to earn it, because in Seychelles, if you think you're not proving yourself, it's not going to be easy. Then you have at least 5 years in one term. It goes by so quickly. I started my second mandate, and in next year will be my last time in parliament before I stand in again for another term. And it's not easy as well to fight against the others. When I say fight, I mean in terms of campaigning to convince people. You have to prove yourself within 5 years that you can deliver. And if not, the people will vote you out. And the power is it within the people. That's why I say it is important for you, young teens, to get engaged, and you have to challenge your members of parliament. For my district, if I'm not seen regularly in my community, or I don't answer my calls or communicate the emails or give feedback to clients, definitely I won't be getting good remarks. And today there's social media. A lot of them criticize their MPs on the social network. So if you cannot prove yourself that you're delivering, then you're in trouble.
So whatever you think that a politician might be coming for their personal gain, there is always a lot of hard work that's there. So keep doing that hard work
Exactly.
and let that benefit
Yes.
come to you. Don't follow everything just for the benefit's sake. So the next question comes from Tehzeeb Kabir. Tehzeeb, over to you. Please unmute yourself, introduce yourself, and ask your question.
Greetings, ma'am. I'm Tehzeeb Kabir, a teen MP at the 3rd World Teen Parliament, from 9th grade at Daffodil International School, Uttara, Dhaka, Bangladesh. My question is, as the member of National Assembly of Seychelles, what are the initiatives Seychelles government is taking to preserve the country's unique culture?
Sorry, can you repeat the last part?
As the member of the National Assembly of Seychelles, what are the initiatives Seychelles government is taking to preserve the country's unique culture?
Okay. Now, if I would say from my personal perspective, because I'm from the opposition party, I don't want to be biased in my view. Before the previous government, which was the party that I represent today, when we were in government, we had specially a ministry that addressed and campaign and also promote the aspect of our culture in Seychelles. But with the change of government, there's no ministry. The ministry does not exist, but there is another. It's more like someone that is like what would I say, a secretary that has been appointed to promote culture in different areas. So, but we still have a department that try to preserve our local heritage, and we still have structures in place that still tries to promote and support the Creole culture, the local cuisine, or support in terms of our artists, and as well as the way of how we still keep some of our heritage in our local communities. But for me, to be honest, there's a lot of things that needs to be reviewed in Seychelles for us to try and promote more of our culture so that we don't lose them.
Thank you, ma'am,
But
for your
just to
valuable
share,
answer.
just to share with you again, in the National Assembly of Seychelles, we have a committee that MPs from both sides, from the majority party and the opposition party, they form part. They oversee the government's budgets and programs in terms of the area of culture in the parliament. So the budget that the government has presented, they have to see that if the government has implemented those projects, how far they've gone to. They have to present a report, and they present the report to the National Assembly for other members to know if there are things that have been achieved or not. and members get a chance as well to bring questions to the minister. Actually, we don't have a minister, but it has to be someone from the cabinet of ministers that comes to answer question in relations to our concern MPs from the National Assembly with regards to the subject of culture.
The next question comes from Saskia Poonith. Saskia, over to you. Please introduce yourself and ask your question.
Mrs. Audrey. I'm Saskia from Mauritius, and I would like to say that it's really inspiring seeing you since the age of 13, as you said, being so involved with your community and seeing you always continuing what you started. So my question is, if you imagine Seychelles 20 years from now, what are some changes or advancements you hope to see, and what role would you like to see the youth playing in this future?
Thank you, Sasha, for your question. I want to see more young parliamentarians in the National Assembly of Seychelles, more youth engagement, and a balance so that we can have more female MPs in Parliament. We want to see a balance in leadership so that we have not only male leaders, we want to see a lot of female leaders. We've had in the past a lot of female ministers, but we've gone down. We've had in the past a lot of, I remember the 5th Assembly, we had a lot of female MPs, and there was a lot of youth, female and male MPs. You know, in Seychelles today, I am part of only 7 young MPs under the age of 40. So for me, out of 35, only 7 are youth. And out of the 7, only 3 are female MPs. So for me, in the next future, like you said, 10 to 20 years, I want to see more young people getting engaged in leadership. I want to see young women taking the challenge of being a leader. I know it's not easy. It was not easy for me when I went through all these steps throughout my teens to become an MP. And to be honest, I get a lot of critics, a lot of negative comments on social media. But that does not affect me. To be honest, I'm more stronger. They make me more stronger. But what I can prove on my local level and show what I can do for my people, that's what's important. It's the smile that you see on their faces. It's the encouragement, the words of encouragement that you get from them, but not from those negative critics. You will have them, definitely. The bullying in Parliament, there will be. I cannot promise you there will not be. There will be, but you have to be strong. You have to. I'll encourage you to be strong and don't be scared. You will have to make a lot of sacrifices. Balance your personal life, balance your family life as well when you're getting older. So I want to see more youths being engaged in leadership.
We're all hoping that a lot of young people will get involved in politics, and we'll see a lot of policy makers from teenagers getting, young people getting involved. The next question comes from Mayank Kumar Rai. Mayank, over to you. Introduce yourself and ask your question.
Greetings, ma'am. I'm Mayank Kumar Rai, a member at the 3rd World Parliament. Ma'am, my question to you is there a unique aspect of Seychelles culture that you believe all teens worldwide could benefit from learning? How does it help young people in Seychelles to navigate their own lives?
For me, I believe that regardless I'm from Seychelles or any youth from Seychelles, it is important that you believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Believe in empowering yourself for you to get the good knowledge, the skills, so that you can empower others to make a difference wherever you go. Could be in Seychelles, could be in your own country, could be in any other country. Believe in what you want to do and what to be. Okay, and we need to encourage other youths to take challenges, test themselves to see how far they can go, how far they can build up their personal development, and how can they consider building their future careers for them to be good leaders, because we need good leaders. And if you start early, like I've mentioned, this will be a good benefit for you and your community and your country. And just to share on this last note, in Seychelles, in the past, there are some historical event that has happened, and not all people are happy about it. I'm not here to judge what happened because I was not born at that time. But when I grew up and learned what happened in the past, some individual decided to take some negative decision that had a negative impact on the image of Seychelles, and it created a lot of frustration and anger in certain group of people. And today we still have people that are still feeling those kind of resentment, and they've advocated for change and want to see things differently. Now, for me, I believe that whatever past that happened for your country or for my country, be it was a good decision, be it was a negative decision, I learned from the past. If it was something which is good, or something good came out of it, I take the good part. But if it was something bad, of course, I will sympathize and I will move forward. We have to build for us to try and build forgiveness, to move on, and try to build a better society for our local community and our country. This is a way how we young people can make a difference in the future, so that we can stop violence, we can stop wars, we can stop all those past bitterness that has happened within any part of the world or your respective community or country. So this is why I support youth today to empower themselves to be good leaders, because we can make a difference. We can learn to forgive and move on. Because if we don't do that and we continue repeating the same mistake as the previous ones or our past ancestors, then we will not be helping to be creating a better community for our future young leaders that, like, for now we are in that stage, and for any future for us or our children.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We still have a lot of questions that are there, but we are nearly at the end of the call. So, but before the call comes to an end, let me ask you for your closing statements and your remarks for the World Teen Parliament that people and teenagers across the world can cherish. Over to you for your closing remarks and your remarks for the World Teen Parliament.
I will tell you that this platform is a good opportunity for you to empower yourself, for you to learn each other's culture. It is a platform for you to share what you are doing well in your community, in your schools, in your environment, and you can also share the challenges. And together you can take good ideas and see how you can implement in your respective local community or in your school, and again, empower other youths to be engaged on this platform. For me, when I heard about the World Teen Parliament, I was very interested. I said, this is a very good opportunity for young people of Seychelles to participate. And I said that I will definitely be sharing with the Seychelles National Youth Council and whatever I learned, the good practice of this platform, and share it on my National Assembly in my debates, so that I can promote the good things that you must be doing in your respective countries. So for me, I want you to focus on your studies. If you're not involved in any groups, consider it. It will help you. It will help you a lot. Believe in yourself, and stay positive always, regardless the challenges or any negative impacts that will come towards your future. But stay positive. It is important, and always be involved in the process of your school's development and your community, and see how best you can contribute as a youth to make a difference. The important thing is for you to make a difference. That is a challenge I'm giving you. See what you can challenge yourself to make a difference in your community, and empower more youths to be engaged in their policy making in their respective communities and government. And I wish to see that in the future, that you can be the one replacing me to be sharing your experiences to other teens that will be replacing you while you've been move on your career path. So all the best, and I wish you all the best, and keep up the good work that you are doing, and stay as like you're 100 of you now. Stay connected. Don't try and keep this. It's like a family platform. So stay engaged. You can tomorrow. You can share with others that can join this group.
Thank you so much, ma'am. To conclude the session, let me invite Mahee Sabharwal to present the vote of thanks so that we can move towards concluding the parliamentary session. Mahee, over to you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you today filled with gratitude and appreciation, and I want to take a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you. Your support and encouragement have meant the world to us. Firstly, I'd like to thank Honorary Audrey Vidot for joining this session and making it memorable. We got to learn so much from you, and we are profoundly appreciative of that. I also want to acknowledge the Blub world for giving me this wonderful opportunity, and I'm truly grateful for it. Lastly, I would like to thank everyone in this meeting today. Your presence here is a testament to the connections we've built and the experiences we've shared. We spoke to someone from the National Assembly of Seychelles. I would have never thought that in a million years, and yet again, Blub World has exceeded my expectations. Let's continue to inspire and uplift one another as we move forward. Merci beaucoup.
It's nice you've learned our language. Thank you as well. Thank you so much. I was so happy to be with you. And you can always say, I can always stay in touch with this platform. And if you have a specific area you wish to learn about Seychelles, just tell me in advance and I can organize. And I can even share what other good things that as a parliament we are doing to connect with the young people in our local communities. It could be in health. There's a lot of things that we are doing, or it could be in other areas. So please, or environment, anything, education. You just let me know, and I'll be happy to form part, and I'll share the insights of Seychelles.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for taking all the time and being here with us for the 34th parliamentary session. Thank you so much, all the teens, for being here. Have an amazing evening ahead and have a happy weekend. Before the session comes to an end, I would again invite all the teenagers who are listening to this session, if you have any questions, do send them up. Do DM us those questions. We'll try to ask them to the people who take out time and are here with us at the World Teen Parliament. Thank you so much, everyone.